For more on U.S. relations with Pakistan and Afghanistan, we're joined now by Professor Peter Bechtold, former Director for Near East and North Africa Studies at the Foreign Service Institute at the U.S. Department of State. Let me ask you first, Professor, relations between Afghanistan and Pakistan have not been good. They've been strained for some time because Afghanistan blames the Pakistanis for giving sanctuary to the Taliban. So are they going to get past this and come to some kind of settlement?
It's going to be difficult, but I think they're being pushed into a rapprochement in part by the U.S. policy to continue using drone attacks, which are wildly unpopular in both Afghanistan and in Pakistan. And the question arises for both heads of state how to deal with the United States, which militarily, of course, is very powerful, but politically very unpopular.
So what would top the agenda at these talks in addition to talking about the Taliban and bringing them into the governing process?
Well, in addition to the Taliban, I think what would top the agenda is whether or not to use as an option the blocking of the Khyber Pass route to Peshawar in the withdrawal of the American equipment in 2014. Or to possibly use this as a bargaining chip or as a threat. And it would take both parties to do that, because the plan, as I understand it, is to get the American equipment out through Pakistan to the port of Karachi.
I want to move on to one other issue now, and that is the talks that have been taking place between the United States and President Karzai over what happens as the U.S. drawdown begins in Afghanistan. It would appear that President Karzai has been playing a game of chicken with the United States here. What is he hoping to achieve?
Well, I think he is looking for his legacy as well as his future well-being. Because he is seen by many in Afghanistan as a stooge of the United States, having been brought back to Afghanistan by Western powers. And he is seen as cooperating with the American attacks, which have caused the death of some civilians. And so he's accused of this. And he wants to leave office in a few months, with his reputation intact. But he also wants to leave with his personal security intact. And this is a very large challenge, and he needs to find a way to make sure that there are not too many enemies who try to do to him what happened to Mr. Najibullah after the Soviet withdrawal from Afghanistan.
Right, but we will see U.S. troops remain in Afghanistan at the end of the day.
Well, it's very unpopular in the United States. It's unpopular in Afghanistan. But those who do not want to enter the history book as, quote, having lost, the war in Afghanistan, they want to stay there in order to train the Afghan military. But the Afghan military consists mostly of troops from the northern alliance region. And the people who we call Taliban, incorrectly, by the way, are mostly Pashtun. And, we have the Pashtuns on both sides of the Afghanistan-Pakistan border due to the Durand Line, which was drawn in 1893 to separate, make the Pashtuns weaker. And so you have attempts by some Pashtuns to create a new entity, a united Pashtunistan. That would be part of the negotiations. What is the role of the Taliban on both sides? That will be part. And then how to deal with the United States if there's a continued use of drones.
Okay, sir. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.